Welcome back, everyone, to the WCS Winter America's Grand Finals. So nice of Blizzard to name a WCS season after me. And we have two of the most iconic players from that region. If you've watched StarCraft before, you know them. Let me introduce you. In the top right, the American hero. The first three-time WCS champion. It is Neeb! And on the opposite side, the Queen of Blades from Canada. Oh god, did I break? Oh, I broke the camera. It's Scarlett. Oh god, what have I done? Fix it! Fix! Okay, I fixed it. Okay, we're fine. Ignore that. Jimmy, fix that for next time. So, Zerg versus Protoss, the two best players going through the gauntlet. Well, Neeb. Scarlett qualified for the finals. Neeb fought his way through. Protoss versus Zerg. Now, Neeb, historically, in the year of Neeb, which was 2017 and maybe 2019, his Protoss versus Zerg was incredibly strong. Probably, and, well, almost surely his best matchup. There's been times where Neeb has been the person, even including Korea. He's been the guy like, oh, that's how you play Protoss versus Zerg. He redefines, or defines, depending on how you want to look at it, the meta. Scarlett, on the other hand, a bit more of a wild card. Some days she comes to play. Some days, well, always Scarlett's issue has been consistency. Some days she looks like the best player in the world, and some days, not so much. And we've seen that in GSL. We've seen that in IEM, where she brings home some of the victories, and then sometimes some pretty depressing losses, to be honest, as a Scarlett fan. There's the Stargate. Now, one thing about Neeb, he's a shield. There are two flavors of Protoss. I guess Protoss has the most distinct split between the types of players. There are shield Protoss and YOLO Toss. A shield Protoss is the player who's always looking like, how do I get a third base quickly? How do I get another level of tech? How do I stay safe? And then the YOLO Toss are like, how do I kill this guy with random units they're not expecting? Shield Protoss include players like Stats and Neeb. Those and Showtime are the biggest examples, the most iconic examples. And then YOLO Toss are players like SOS, MC, Parting, players that, while they're smiling in your face, would not hesitate to stab you in the back. But Neeb, almost to a fault, will play that safe standard style. We'll see if he mixes it up here in the finals. I don't know what he's been playing through this tournament so far. I wasn't able to catch it live, but I'm catching it now. And I do like to... This is the best way for me to actually learn. As I'm watching these games, I'm paying as close attention as possible, so hopefully my casting doesn't suck too hard. But Scarlett, being sneaky, was the lair spotted? It was. That is a quick lair. Though it's before a third base. It's a Nidus to kick things off. The Nidus not as fearsome as it once was. It was nerfed a bit to have some less armor, but still tough to take down unless you're ready for it. Is the Nidus spotted? There, well, that'll do it. Nidus in the back of the base. Still, the probes are pulled to actually do damage. Lings at the front. There's actually not that much in the Nidus. A queen and some lings, but this is the real attack. The bait and switch here. The Nidus will be taken out, but the Cyber Core taking a lot of damage. There's going to be a sentry warped in behind. Gateway falls. Void Ray comes out. The Cyber Core, that means no more sentries, no more stalkers, no more adepts after that Cyber Core is gone. But thankfully the Stargate is still powered. Oh, that the Nidus comes in! Out pops the Lings and a Queen! A transfuse on the Nidus! But wait a second, from both ends, Neeb is being ripped to shreds. The Stargate unit's trying to hold the line. He can still warp in some Zealots. The Zealots sorely needed to tank damage. Another Nidus at the back. Back and forth. Scarlett is everywhere. There's no such thing as defender's advantage when you've got a Zerg warp gate in your base. But a couple shield batteries to help protect. The probe count. Neeb's still at 33 probes if he can just keep it together. Is there enough energy on the Oracle? The Queens have a lot of anti-air range, but so many probes have gone down more into the main. The shield battery is being drained very quickly. There's not that much energy they can use against this many Zerglings. But Neeb taps it out, and game number 1 immediately gonna go to Scarlett with a well-executed all-in. Quick and dirty. Quick and dirty. Get in, get out. Get back in again. 2 hops this time. I think for a best of 7, it is a best of 7. It's good if you... I don't mind. I'm not the person who's like, oh, they're cheesy. That's not playing the real game. No. If you're playing a best of 7, and you're comfortable or confident, or not, I don't see any problem. I think it's smart to pull out a strategy like that in game number 1. Because there is, like, if you can pull off that win, now Neeb, one, he has to always think about, is it a Nidus? Is it a Nidus? Is it that's all in the back of your mind, whole series. And also, he now either has to play safer. Everything becomes harder. Statistically, now I don't think it will go 3-0 either way. I don't think we'll get to 3-0, but statistically, every game you lose in a series significantly... Okay, I realize how dumb and simple this is about to sound. But even more than you'd think, like being down 3-0, how many times do you think a player has come from down 3-0 to win 4-3? In about 25 or so GSL finals, it's happened once. It's happened one time. Which was Soul Key versus Innovation. And I believe that was in Heart of the Swarm. I'm not sure if that's ever happened in WCS. I don't think so. But if you can pull out a quick win like that, you can't trash talk. All right. We'll keep that quiet for now. Stop yelling at me. Now, what is this wall, Neeb? Is this how you wall on this map? That seems like a lot of surface area. By the way, Kairos Junction, one of the shortest rush distances, maybe the shortest in the map pool. But I'm intrigued. The one thing is that pylon will not be killed by Zerglings, but I'm a little confused. We'll see. We'll see how it shakes out. I can't be like, Neeb, what are you doing? You Bronze League hero. What's going on? No. I am intrigued to see how he's going to complete that wall. Because, of course, he's going to complete the wall. When the Zerg come, they're not sending their best. They're sending Zerglings. And in Scarlett's case, more Zerglings. Just keep doing that. Lots of Zerglings. They're going to kill your... They're going to get in. They're going to kill your probes. And bad things. And then you're going to lose the game. Alright. This is why I get paid the medium bucks. Oh, cancels at the last second. Might be able to pick up a kill. Trying to body block from the Spore save. A little bit of fancy micro there. Neeb getting in. Adepts, kind of what he hung his hat on for the first year of Legacy of the Void. Fun fact, Neeb used to be a Terran player. Now, make whatever comments you want about this, but Neeb he didn't just pop up out of nowhere in Legacy of the Void. He played Terran, but in the Legacy of the Void beta, he switched to Protoss. And you're like, well, I didn't know that. I never saw Neeb playing Terran. Exactly. He was a Grandmaster player, a WCS contender, but now he's in the finals. The Adept Shade through fancy micro there. So, Scarlett's like, this is exactly what I thought. Like, Scarlett's like, what is this wall? What if I just kill it? Yeah, okay, I feel so validated right now. Because right here, Scarlett's like, what is this joke of a wall? I'll just kill it. And it's working. Like, well, at this point, I feel like she's not going to kill any more buildings. Maybe get that? There are 2 force fields, but that is some energy. I mean, the Zerglings are getting through. Scarlett is still just making Zerglings. I didn't think she'd actually do it, but there's not that many drones. I guess this gives you a lot of space to continue walling. The Great Wall of Neeb is holding. It's continually being reinforced. There's an Immortal now. Yeah, at this point, Neeb still has 30. I guess he's fine. He still has 34 probes. All he needed to do was hold. And Neeb holds. A Cyber Core has to be rebuilt. He's so confident he even just cancels one of the gates. Don't need a hard wall, whatever. So, I feel like Scarlett needed to stop building wings about halfway through. I guess she legitimately thought she would get through the wall. It's just simply it took too much time to get through that many buildings. I still would like, if I could ask Neeb, but why a wall there in the first place? Why make this even a threat? Was he literally trying to bait out the Zergling all in? Because he did. And now he's way ahead. Like, there's no creep spread. The queens are now being built. There's a bunch of useless Zerglings. There's no lair. A Roachborn has started. Like, Scarlett is in trouble now. She's in Trouble Town. And Neeb, all he has to do is just play it safe. Like, keep the Warp Prism as a threat. You have to keep some of those Lings at home. Since there's no lair, there's no sneaky mutas or Nidus or anything, Neeb has perfect scouting information. He focused on his infrastructure. Scarlett is caught up in workers, but she has not had nearly as many workers for quite a time. So, at this point, Neeb sees all. Worst case scenario, he gets in a bit of an awkward spot and has to recall. I don't see a situation like 3 Immortals. There's 61 Zerglings, but they don't have any upgrades. There are some sentries for Force Field. Where's the Prism? Here it is. Oh, the Zerg! What? That Zealot. You're fired. You're fired. The Zerglings get into the main, but it won't matter that much. At the same time, the Zerglings trying to jump the army. The Force Field's choking off a lot of the surface area. Oh my. Well, this actually is going okay for Scarlett. The Immortals have mostly been stripped of their shields. The Warpins were used at home. If they were used on the other side, it's almost impossible to hold that. But now more Warpins are up. Neeb has 6 gates. He can continue to reinforce. He only lost, he lost 5 probes total this game. Nice micro back. Corrosive Bile coming through. Gonna get a couple hits. Immortals, one of them falling. The Ravager Ling is breaking through. Neeb really pressing the issue. There's a chance he overextends here. But Scarlett has no tech. So as long as Neeb is able to keep most of these Immortals and the Warp Prism alive, he's going to be more cost effective. Scarlett doesn't have the economy to build ridiculous amounts of units. And when you're down in supply without a lair, well, that's about that. GG. Neeb takes game number 2, ties it up. Solid execution. I'm gonna go ahead. We'll give credit to the American hero. I'm just gonna say it. Neeb intentionally walled off so poorly to bait Scarlett in a 5-dimensional mind game. To bait Scarlett into being like, wow, that's a terrible wall. Let me just break through that. But Neeb was ready for that. So I'd love to say that was the plan. I'm still not sure. But we'll see. Game number 3 is on Cyber Forest. Let's get Jimmy, please. Thank you. Thank you. But this is a much more defensible map. Both Automaton and Kairos Junction share a similar trait that makes Zergling All-Ins more effective. And that is not having a ramp up to the second base, the natural. With that ramp there, it becomes a lot harder to get the surface area with Zerglings, to even get up the ramp, get vision. So I think it's very unlikely that Scarlett will try some sort of big Zergling all-in. It's not out of the question. She hasn't really played out... you can judge it however you like, but she hasn't really played out the game, any of these games. It's just been a bunch of Zerglings. Where are you going, John? Where is this drone going? So there is a pool on the way in gas. It's not going to be... Don't just proc... Are you going to... No. He actually described how he puts the wall there. We're getting some break. Oh my god. Speaking of... Let me finish that thought before we talk about what's on the screen. He puts his wall there so he can get his first probe to block a 16 hatch. So he literally goes a few steps forward with the probe so he doesn't have to wait another split second so he can get the probe there to block an early hatch. Like, literally, that's like saving 1 to 2 seconds. My god. But, so here's what happened. Back to this game. Neeb got in, he saw the pool, he saw the lack of hatcheries, like, well, you should have a hatchery. She does have a hatchery. he immediately goes down the ramp. It's a proxy hatch. It's just far enough away that I think Scarlett was actually kind of trying to hide it. She had to have known that Neeb... Now remember, both Scarlett and Neeb lived in the same house in Korea, the Foreigner house. Well, with some Korean players, and played in GSL. I'm sure they have played hundreds, if not thousands, of games together. I don't know how many before this event, but any strategy that Scarlett or Neeb is using is either going to have to be something they've never pulled out before in thousands of games, or so figured out they actually think they can win. There's so many mind games. It's not just the builds, it's the mind games, knowing how each other thinks. They are the two best players in the Americas. That's why they're in the finals, and so far the spine crawlers are coming up. The shield batteries are already done. Scarlett is going all sorts in on this one. She's got Zergling speed. I guess there's not much of a transition here. Nice cancel at the last second. Another spine crawler. Oh, but this one not canceled in time. 3 shield batteries should be enough. Neeb has the workers here. A queen comes out, opts for the larva inject. That means she really wants to make sure that that hatchery lives until the larva inject at least pops off. Zergling's looking for the surround. A couple... Well, there are 4 stalkers now, really trying to drain the energy of the shield batteries. Now, this is a bit of a gamble, but the shield batteries, they're almost out of energy. It looks like 1 stalker going to be taken down. Good surface area for the Zerglings again. Deja vu. The Zerglings are right outside the base. Neeb retreats behind his wall. The batteries on the low ground will be taken out. Is Neeb... I'm wondering if Neeb thought that she wouldn't commit this hard to it. Because he was outside the wall, but the Zerglings just keep coming. There's no scout on the other side. The probe was taken out a while ago. And now Scarlett, almost in slow motion, is going to successfully establish this low ground area. And does she go up the ramp? I mean, it's obviously a yes, but how much does this get done? Warp gate isn't done. Just building out of gates. The spine crawler microed back the giraffe micro. The gate is losing a lot of HP. The spine crawler comes in again. It will be targeted down, but it forces another volley. Great force field. Neeb is holding again. Is this actually blocking the expansion? Scarlett continues to build. Warp gate finishes just in time, a couple seconds before the cyber core is done. Another spine crawler is targeted down. The legs are trying to get in. Down goes the sentry. More warp-ins. Still has a cyber core for sentries. Looking for an opportunity. Now the Lings are trapped inside. The shield battery's holding for now. They're out of energy, though. Is the wall still holding? Neeb is holding. The Zerglings are thinning out. More coming in. 2 cyber cores are on the way. There's one in the main, just in case she gets through the one at the net. Another Zealot goes down. And Neeb holds. Jesus. Oh, the queen! The queen! Assassinated. And, Scarlett has nothing. She's got more Zerglings. That's it. There's nothing else. Is there enough room for a Nexus here? I don't know. I'm pretty sure there isn't. Has Neeb set this up so perfectly that he can actually get a Nexus? There's already a War Prism, so we're in a very similar situation to the last game. Scarlett tries to break through, and Neeb does not let that happen. The Zealots, a hallucinated Phoenix, finally feeling comfortable with enough energy. The Zerglings, I mean, this isn't going to get better as time goes on. Really gambling on the force fields. And the force fields were not perfect. A lot of the Zerglings get in. Gonna try to save the hatchery. It's being targeted down. The Zealots should be able to be saved. Wait, the micro back to the low ground. Not perfect here either. GG, Neeb wins the match. Scarlett taps it out. And the question on everyone's minds, will Scarlett build a unit from a lair? We've had 3 matches in 15 minutes or so, and every single one has been a bunch of Zerglings. Year Zero's up next. What are you doing, Scarlett? I think it's time to calm down. Neeb showing he is fully capable of driving the Zerglings away. Alright. Going into game 4. It feels weird to say. It usually doesn't happen this quick at all. But Neeb shows he's very good at placing buildings down and keeping Zerglings out of his base. Scarlett showing there's only... The thing about Zerglings, there's only so much you can do. If your opponent has such precise micro and such precise placement, there's no perfect force fields for Zerglings. There's no like target fire when it comes to melee units, not really. So you're really relying on your opponent miscalculating slightly and then immediately jumping on that opportunity. But we are in the WCS Winter Americas Finals. We started with 30, I believe it was 32 players from each region. We narrowed it down to 8, and now we're down to 2. I'm not sure exactly what the prize is for first place. I should probably look that up. But we're just going to go with $1 million until I am corrected. I don't think it's $1 million, but you can't know for sure. Did you look it up? No. Neeb's going to go with the gate expand. Back to the classics, and it almost didn't register. Scarlett does not have a pull first this game. She's got a hatchery on the way. This doesn't necessarily mean there won't be a bunch of Zerglings. This means there's more larvae for Zerglings. A little bit of anti-mineral micro trying to screw up the drones as they mine the minerals. This is one of those things that if it goes perfectly and your opponent doesn't react, you can deny them dozens of minerals. If it doesn't go perfectly and you don't miss something at home, then it has not been worth it at all. So that's pretty much, there's so little going on at home. Neeb can spend the time just microing this probe around. Scarlett doing a little bit of counter micro. But do not try this at home. I don't even try it, because half the time I screw it up and either lose the probe or don't build probes. But Neeb's allowed. Neeb, the now currently leading in the WCS Winter Americas Finals. Neeb is allowed. I'll give him that. The probe runs, well, hovers, glides, scampers. I like scampers, even though it's not accurate. Neeb! Oh! You see what happens? I'm gonna blame that on the mineral. He popped out his adept on the wrong side and had to recall it. Scarlett dancing! Oh, she saw it! Oh! Now that is a Gold League mistake. Of all the things. Has to use the energy for a recall that early? Okay, well, I take it back. Neeb is no longer allowed to do the mineral micro. Not anymore. No more Neeb. Your fancy micro card is revoked. Jeez. And you know Scarlett was watching. So, of course she's on top of that. The Adept shades through, looking for whether Zergling Speed and a Lair are on the way. And cancels before it commits and dies. Remember, there's no recall. Phoenix comes out. Scarlett. The question of whether or not this is a Stargate, very quickly answered. Maybe try to get vision. If these gases are taken in the next, well, by now they should be taken. Looks like Neeb's going to show it. This usually is a transition into Archon drop, but there's a whole mind game of, oh, he took the gases. He doesn't have to mine from the gases. He could maybe even cancel them. Probably not, as Zerglings can come up. But another Stargate is on the way. He's going to need the gas. This is mass Stargate. Is it going to be Oracles or Phoenixes, though? Oracles are the usual flavor, but Phoenixes still find their place. And there we go. Another Phoenix is on the way. How many does he wait for? What? Neeb? What? What a dirty placement for Adepts. Are the Zerglings ever going to kill that? So, like, are you kidding me right now? That double take on the Zerglings. Did you just do that? Oh, wait. That Adept? It looks like it's in place. Now, the Oracle got in, killed a few drones, but almost died itself. Double Phoenix production. Usually 4 or 5 is the number you wait for. If you wait too long, they're just going to kind of have enough defenses and economy. But if you go too quick, you won't get enough damage done. So you have to decide, do I just hold on to them as long as possible, or do I try to start scaling up the damage here? I think he'll go after these 5. We've got another gate on the way. That's just to have enough ground units so his Phoenixes don't have to come home. Ah! It really looks like he could get through. That Adept just kind of... It's an invisible... holding its arm out. Like, no. Oh, the shades! Are canceled at the last second. Fancy micro there. The Phoenixes make their way past Amon's giant face. Amon should be able to eat units. I feel like we've discussed this before. But the Phoenixes are coming in. How does Scarlett respond? She's got a lair nearly done. The Zerglings are trying to get on top of the 3rd, but the Oracle already there to block. The Queens... 3 Queens taken out thus far. Now, there are a couple different strategies for dealing with this. One is try to all... Well, Scarlett has a bunch of Roaches. She definitely misread this, thought it was an Archon drop. The thing is, that Oracle has very little energy. It doesn't even have enough to turn on the Pulsar Beam for now. A bunch of Roaches. The Phoenixes have to fly right back home. Not going to go for the cancel on this base. Actually going for damage at the natural, knowing the Phoenixes are on the way. More Zerglings are coming up. Scarlett has 51 workers behind this. She's adding on more drones. Tries to get into the natural. Wasting some precious time there, but I think there should be enough Roaches to take this out. It's going to be close. The Oracle nope. It's down. A lot of energy was used to pick up Queens and drones, and not quite enough Phoenixes. Neeb will let it go. Scarlett handling herself well. Not committing all into this, but really making sure Neeb is limited on economy. And now the big win here is the gas. Without having gases number 5 and 6 and having that additional options, well, those options and income for tech, going for both additional Phoenixes and for a strong ground army becomes nearly impossible. Like right now, Neeb is pumping out of Mortals, but he doesn't have enough gas to also be building Phoenixes or easily tacking up to Templar. Something without those extra gases that he really wanted at the 3rd. Scarlett has a lot more time before the ground army can put itself together. And that's given her an opportunity to get a lot more drones. Neeb looking to cut that down to size. Some Overlord's going to go down. But once you get over about 60 drones, the Phoenixes can kill some, but you've already got enough income. Hydra's picked up and knocked down again. But eventually the Phoenixes run out of energy. Scarlett, those Phoenixes came in, she had 60-something drones. They came out, she's got 71. You can't explain that. Actually, I probably could. You can figure that out. But classic Scarlett move. Knowing that with the denial of the 3rd, there's no way Neeb can actually challenge a ground army, and there's plenty of time to build drones. Some more sentries being warped in. Oh, Neeb is feeling the pressure. He really feels like he's got to get some damage done, I think. Without a Templar Archives on the way, at some point, there's going to be so many Hydras, you can no longer deal with them. You need to have splash damage. And Neeb doesn't have a Robobay or a Templar Archives. So without it, this ground army, he's really trying to cut off the Hydra count at the knees right now. At the knee, no. He needs to get it done. Is there +1? There are no upgrades at all. I don't even think there's a Twilight Council. It's just a brute force attack. You got a lot of Phoenixes. Some of them have energy for multiple pickups. The Spore Crawler zoning out at the front, but not doing that much. The force field's looking good thus far. A Guardian Shield's super important. Down goes the Observer. Force fielding out. Scarlett does have a Ravager to try to break him. The Hydras are shooting over the top. Groove Spine's not quite done yet. She opted for Hydra speed first and might be regretting it. More Stalkers warping in. The Sentry's nearly out of energy. The Phoenix is totally out of energy, and most of them are dead as well. But the Hydra count is so high. The Hydra speed coming into play. The Warp Prism lives with 2 HP. Are you crazy, Neeb? If he gets another warp in, that could make the difference. What? Why are you? What? Oh, you're crazy. One more Hydra makes it through right before it dies and takes out the Prism. In comes the Oracle, a little late to the party, but better late than never. Neeb's army is battered down. Scarlett had just enough in the way of units to hold the line and turn the tides. And now she's speeding across the map with the Roaches, a single Oracle, and some very angry Phoenixes, but they're not going to stop the Roaches before they get to the third. Is the ground army done? He doesn't even have more Immortals. He can't even necessarily beat these Roaches on their own, let alone the 70 drone economy that powers them. Oh yeah, it is 2-1 Neeb. Jimmy, come on, what are you doing? But it could soon be 2-2. At this rate, it's very likely to be 2-2. Neeb is... Scarlett giving him some time. Now, Scarlett has 4 bases. She's got decent creep. Not great, decent. You don't really want to give much breathing room, though, because there's not a kicker here for Scarlett. There's not, like, a Spire or a Hive or even Lurkers. Like, the longer she lets Neeb go, the closer he gets to 200 supply, the more dangerous it gets. Disruptors are on the way, and Disruptors are going to have to save the day. There's still no splash damage for now. Disruptors are a desperation move, by the way. Oh, what? The timing could be quite fortuitous. A Disruptor shot comes in, blasts 4 Roaches out of the way. Another big hit right in the center mass. Neeb holding the line. A big round of Zealots in front. Is there even a Twilight Council? There's still no Twilight Council. Oh, those are Adepts. Just trying to hold. The Disruptor hits, cutting through the army. But is it enough? The Hydras and Ling still on top of everything. The Disruptors are good, but they have quite a cooldown. Probes have to be pulled. Desperation at the third. Disruptors, they should be off cooldown by now. I'm not sure what's coming down from the main. More Stalkers being warped in. Another Disruptor shot. Fishing for Hydras. Not going to find him. Another shot. But the Disruptor is killed before the Nova explodes. The economy is too good. And Scarlett wins game number 4. Yeah, you can take me there you go. That's the Scarlett we wanted to see. Coming out to play. A bit of an awkward start for Neeb with the Phoenixes. Not having to bring the Phoenixes home for the Roaches just did so much. That timing was when Neeb really needed to kind of hold down Scarlett's economy. Like, right as Neeb was getting... Neeb needed the third! He needed the third. Sniping that third base with the Roaches sneaking across the map. That was the critical point. And now, we're all tied up 2-2. Jimmy says it's time to run an ad in case Scarlett just Ling all-ins 2 more times and wins. So if you guys could disable ad block, that'd be awesome. But thank you guys for watching. We'll be right back. We'll be going into game number 5. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Winter, and I'm here to talk to you about many exciting things, including Twitch Prime. Twitch Prime is when you take your mom's Amazon Prime account and you subscribe to a streamer of your choice. Or even subscribe to me. Now wait, there's an actual practical explanation here. For the next few months, this is in April of 2019, I believe you have like 2 more days to pick up your Abathur bundle. Maybe 1 or 2 more days. Because for 3 months, there will be StarCraft 2 bundles for free with Twitch Prime. That includes consoles, like the UI in-game, if you actually play the game. Big caveat there. If you don't play the game, thank you for watching. Please subscribe. But the consoles, the co-op commander, which is worth usually around $5 for each co-op commander. The announcer. Did you know Cyril uses the Abathur announcer? Pick up yours. You got 2 more days. Next month, and starting in 2 days, will be Swan, and then Vorazun. So you got your Mechgineer and Dark Templar Hierarch, or whatever. I don't know. People try to explain the lore to me. And It's interesting, but I don't care that much. Anyways, make sure to get a hold of that. And subscribe. What else? Oh yeah, limited time only. If you subscribe, either here or on YouTube, or smashing that like button or ringing the bell, which is also on Twitch now. Everybody loves the bell. I get more money. Make the difference today. Jimmy. Thank you guys for sticking around. We're back to the WCS Winter Grand Finals. America's region. Neeb versus Scarlett. All tied up. Jimmy, come on. Stick with it. In the bottom right, the American Protoss looking for his 4th WCS championship. Sponsored by Ting. It's Neeb. And in the top left, fighting back that last match, showing she's not as addicted to Zerglings as we once thought. The Canadian Zerg. I believe she is on... Wait, what team is she on right now? Let me check that real quick. I believe it is... Oh, Team Newbie. Team Newbie. You might know from Dota fame, especially. At least that's what I recognize Team Newbie as. But one of the StarCraft 2 squad. So... I should have known that coming into this. Looks like no proxies. Neeb has gone for... Well, he's been aiming for a third... Neeb has been the defender in all 4 games thus far. As is typical of a shield Protoss. He's sat back and let Scarlett figure out what she's going to do. Now, it's worked out for a couple times with the Nidus and with just the overwhelming economy. But will it work on Port Alexander? Remember to stay hydrated. Also, public service announcement. I see you hunching over. Sit up. I know you'll forget, and I'll forget in 5 minutes. But treat yourself. Maintain that posture. I didn't even want to think about that. That's not good. Nobody ever wants to think about that. It's called I believe the medical term is nerdback. You've heard of hunchback, but have you heard of nerdback? It afflicts millions of gamers. And the question is, how are gamers going to rise up with such a severe case of nerdback? Ooh, I like this. The Robo. This is a style that I like lately. Protoss imparting. Well, parting, I feel, is kind of pioneering it a bit, but a lot of Korean Protosses are using it. I guess parting is the most visible, but the Robo opener with a lot of early pressure. So, we will see how that pans out for him. Does he opt for the Immortals early, or is this just a Warp Prism? Because, oh... Interesting. So this is more the stats variety. What this does, well, the Robo early is a better counter to a potential Nidus opener. And Scarlett not opting for a quick third. She does have a lair on the way. Neeb does spot it. That's why the Adept Shade goes in and cancels. Just trying to get vision of whether or not exactly this has happened. Oh my god. Cameraman, calm down. Who's doing that? But having that Robo access, one, leaves you a lot better off against early Nidus, and gives you the ability to actually put on some serious ground pressure. Usually Stargate units, while dangerous, are not deadly. whereas a couple of mortals and some sentries, much more dangerous. Wait. Neeb canceled the prism upon scouting the lair, and he built an immortal. And now he's adding on a prism. It looks like Neeb is going for this timing. He's going to try to hit right as lair is finishing, because that means no lair tech can kick in yet. Now, does he even need to attack is another question. There is an overlord up here spotting the gas, and Neeb doesn't care that the war prism is scouted. He wants to make sure that overlord does not see what's going on. Nice little juggle there. Wait, is that an infestation pit? And is this Nidus Swarm Host? Welcome to the Cheese Hour, everyone. A classic Twitch chat GM strat, Nidus Swarm Host. It's one of those strategies that on paper seems really good, but in practice is really tough to pull off. Managing the Swarm Host waves, you have to be very careful because they're on cooldown longer than they're active. So if you miss one Swarm Host wave, that opens you up to a lot of counter damage. There is no third. Now, I don't know how much of this is like, well, he won't be expecting Nidus Swarm Host, and I'm reasonably sure Neeb is not expecting Nidus Swarm Host, and how much of it already a Ling here for vision, and how much of it is, this is my strategy on this map, because there's a lot of good areas to slap a Nidus in and fly the Locust over. How does Neeb react? I'm going to go to the Neeb action cam. There's the scream. Neeb, I bet he just spent a split second checking the minimap. Like, do I have vision of my main? He does. It's not in his main, but here come the Locust. Just continually checking for a third, because even though this is dangerous, as long as Scarlett doesn't have a third base and doesn't really have any other sort of tech, there's going to be a timing for Neeb to get damage done. You see how focused he is on checking what's the third, what's the tech. He knows the danger of the Nidus and is going to deal with it, but also keeping tabs on the Lings. Oh, where are the Adepts? Oh, the Adepts are in the net. I heard them, he heard them. He's like, oh, okay, how about this? These two Adepts are going to get real damage. 6 and counting. Not quite getting that last hit, but Neeb with great target fire. This is awkward. This is possibly the worst case scenario for Scarlett here. Already losing 8 drones. A big Locust wave into the main, but Neeb is already coming across the map. It's going to be at least 30 seconds before those Locusts are back up. There's just not that many other units. There's 25 Zerglings and a handful. Some of the Swarm Hosts have yet to use their Locust. It looks like Neeb's just going to try to fight it straight up. A bit of juggling from the Prism. There's nothing to target it down. The force field's not doing that much, but just so much brute force out of Neeb. He's lost some at home. The problem is the Swarm Hosts have to sit there and angrily shake their pseudo fist at the Protoss army because there's not much else for them to do until they regrow those Locusts. A handful of them come out, desperately trying to defend his Scarlett, but the waves of Locusts are not enough to drive back the waves of Neeb as the Warpins continue forward. The Locusts have a lot of DPS. The drones in the front, losing 13 of them thus far. Now here's the problem. Even if Scarlett defends, there is no economy behind this. The natural can be targeted down. It's been serving as a force field, but that force, still using it as a force field is Neeb. Looks like he's going to take the last shots on it. In a moment, the Zealots. He's deliberately not killing the hatch. He's using the hatchery as a force field. Accidentally kills it now. I love that. Turning the hatchery against the Zerg army. Coming up the ramp. The Swarm Hosts showing why they're such a struggle to make work. And Neeb had already lined up for this timing. Scarlett not expecting such a brute force attack. Trying to do something more finesse-oriented and gonna regret that. Neeb struggling. Well, yeah, the Locusts are not enough. They do a lot of damage, but they don't have much HP. If you don't have Zerglings or Queens or something else to tank damage, the Locusts just die. Neeb with good juggling thus far. He takes it down easily. Didn't really feel that close. The first wave, it felt like Neeb kind of struggled a little, but he immediately, now that's the sign. It's very important, especially for Protoss, because Protoss is, it's the hardest for Protoss to get another level of tech. It's expensive, it takes a lot of time. So when Neeb figured out it was Swarm Host, and then within about 5 seconds, you could see he was lining up an attack. His plan was get across the map before the Locust could do too much damage, and try to essentially get a knockout before too many rounds passed. And Neeb comes in. The fist of Neeb across Scarlett's face. And that's match point. 3-2. One more. And Neeb takes it home. Scarlett. Do we pull out the Zerglings? This is the WCS Winter America's Grand Finals. Played from live in person in, I believe, Burbank, California is where they have their studios. Jimmy, we're doing the game. We're playing the game. Go back to the game. Come on. Thank you. But you can pick up that replay pack for yourself by just following StarCraft on Twitter or going to the site or, like, I don't know, Googling. Once again, shout out, thank you to Blizzard for naming a WCS season after me. That was very thoughtful of them. I appreciate it. In the bottom right is Neeb. In the top left is Scarlett. Not sending any drones out this game. No early pull. King's Cove is one of the most defensible maps. I'm not sure how the map vetoes went. And in a best of 7, you can't actually veto any maps because there are 7 maps in the StarCraft 2 map pool on your regular season. Those are almost always the ones used for tournaments. So I did the wait. Okay. Let me break this down. We got 7 maps. Okay, yeah, that means you play all the maps in a best of 7, potentially. That was really dumb. But Neeb, once again, going back to basics. That last game, it was in response to Scarlett going for the Swarmhouse Knights. He wasn't lining up and all in until Scarlett kind of provoked it. Very reactionary. Adapting to what he scouts. I'm sure Neeb was entirely comfortable just taking a third. Just macroing it out. But once Knight is Swarmhost, you got to make a decision with the Locust raining down. You got to figure that out. So he did. First probe coming across, and now this is a relatively late probe, which means Neeb had no intention of actually blocking the base. It depends on the rush distance between both the naturals. Some maps you can pretty easily block and force a Zerg player to go to another base with their expand, but King's Cove has one of the longer. It's one of the largest maps, very defensible. Now, Scarlett, of course, is no stranger to King's Cove. If you haven't yet, or you don't remember, I'm sure she remembers, and she will remember for quite a time. Playing an hour and a half against Maru to what should have been a draw, but wasn't. Spoilers, by the way, but you should check out. You can find that on YouTube, my YouTube as well. The hour and a half debacle, and debacle it was against Maru, with over 100 nuclear missiles launched, and no brain cells left. Creep spread already. This is going... It looks like it's lining up to be the most passive. I'm surprised Neeb... This is... You see right there, that defines Neeb. Neeb comes in with his Adept. He sees there's no Zerglings close. He sees there's only one Queen. Many players would have been like, you know what? I'm gonna kill some drones. Neeb, I've got another Adept coming. We're just gonna play it safe. He is playing for the highest percentage plays. He's not gonna gamble, even if the reward could be quite dramatic. And he knows when Zergling speed's about to finish. He knows that. But there's going to be an Oracle on the way as well. The Adepts find their little tucked-in location. Can Scarlett actually see where they're shading? Well, she knows the general location. But just as speed finishes, the Oracle will come across the map. Scarlett should come back to deal with these Adepts. She's actually going across, which is an interesting response to this. There's only one Adept at home. Warp Gate is done. So Scarlett definitely gambling a little here. Well, and then comes back. Wow, I'm kind of surprised. I'd say that's a mistake from Scarlett, to be honest. Like, she should have had the Zerglings on this before any drones died. But instead, the Oracle gets in, almost dies. The Adepts are eventually caught. But all these Zerglings were there to block the Adepts from doing damage, and they didn't. So the worker counts kind of reflect that. Because usually you don't want to make this many Zerglings unless you're trying to be proactive. And in this case, Scarlett's going to struggle to get much damage done with the Zerglings. That's why Neeb is ahead now by a probe. It's not the end of the world, but that means Scarlett can't quite get her tech up as quickly. Doesn't have the option for going for a big attack to deny a third. At this point, with +1 melee on the way, kind of locked in to macroing it up now. There should be a lair starting in a moment as well. Neeb, how many gates? 2 gates. He's got he's actually going Glaives. Did he spot the Evo chamber? He did. Okay. Because even with +1, Glaive Adepts slice through so many Zerglings. That's quite the attack speed upgrade. Neeb actually going directly countering what Scarlett is doing. Now, of course, enough +1 Zerglings will kill plenty of Adepts, but Neeb is leaning into them. When does he add on his Robo? Does he put it at the 3rd? I'd imagine the Robos, probably 2 Robos, to be honest. I'm trying to look ahead, because I don't think these Adepts are going to do critical damage, even though there are 11 of them and a couple Oracles. A little bit more done in the main, but those Oracles cannot join the fray. More Zerglings on the way. Scarlett really wants to wait till +1 melee, whereas Neeb is trying to time this out for Resonating Glaives. Scarlett taking the 4th. It's more of a distraction at this point. +1 melee still a bit out, so is Glaives. Scarlett only has Zerglings for defense. Does Neeb cancel? He does! He will commit to the 3rd. Where are the Oracles? Where are the Oracles? There are still 2 Oracles. Did they get recalled out? No, they're in the corner. Neeb's going to try to sneak them out. The Spore Crawler taken down, which means the Oracles will be protected. And suddenly this becomes very awkward. +1 melee attacks is done. Once again, a hatchery serving as a force field. In come more Adepts. Neeb making a lot with this attack. The +1 melee means those Adepts dying a lot quicker than usual, but Glaives are done as well. They're slicing through so many of the Zerglings. Scarlett down to almost none again. +2 attack is on the way, so it's fully ready to transition out of this. But 14 drones? Oh, Neeb just picking his builds precisely in this match. In this series. And he's going to be in a severe lead after this. 63 probes to 51 drones, and he's not done. Oh my god. It's a massacre. How many drones? He's killed 28. There's an Oracle still. Okay, that Oracle has 14 kills. Finally, the Adepts are cleaned up. Scarlett getting a little greedy. And getting a lot punished. Now, there's one saving grace here for Scarlett. Adepts they're pretty expensive in terms of both minerals and gas. There's plenty of gas for Neeb, but they don't as easily as, say, like Archon drop lead into that mid-game tech. So that means Neeb doesn't quite have a knockout attack coming in. He's got a Templar Archive. He really should be going for Storm in just a moment. That means Scarlett has a little bit of time to rebuild. There's not a big threat from Neeb until Charge is done, and probably Storm is done, to be honest. And +2 melee attack. Now, +2 melee attack is not just big for Zerglings, it's even bigger for Banelings. Because +2 melee attack Banelings one-shot probes, 2-shot Templar and Sentries, and just do significantly more damage. Because attack upgrades scale with the damage of a unit. So that means units that hit harder get more of a benefit from those attack upgrades, which is not negated nearly as much by armor. And Neeb right now, since he committed so much to the Adepts and his tech, he doesn't have any upgrades of his own, though these units are very strong by themselves. Banelings on the way. Hydras are done. Hydra speed is done as well. +2 melee, 5 seconds out. Charge is finished, but that actually could work against Neeb here, as that means the charge lots are going to get all clumped up. The Archon's in the back. The Hydra's incredibly well spreaded on. Creep has Neeb bitten off more than he can chew. The Hydras are on their own now. Immortals being targeted down. Scarlett doing her best to split the splash damage. All the Immortals are gone, but guess what, Scarlett? You got nothing left. The Archons are giving chase. The 4th base. The drones, maybe not the time to transfer the drones, but Neeb coming in, looking to lay down the finishing blow. GG! Neeb wins WCS Americas. WCS Winter Americas with a strong 4-2 finish. Kind of dominating. Honestly, that felt like Neeb's series to lose. Comes in. I thought Scarlett might have the opportunity, but Neeb looking strong, especially in Protoss. No game in that series really looked like Scarlett was crushing Neeb, whereas there were definitely some games where Neeb looked like he was in another league. So Scarlett obviously not comfortable playing a later game against Neeb there. And that will wrap up WCS Winter Americas. I feel like, now the one thing I would have liked to see from WCS Winter is having at least like the top 2 or top 4 of America and Europe play against one another. I'll be casting, and I have casted the finals of WCS Europe in some games as well, but a little disappointing. Hopefully we can learn from that. I would really love to see like the top 4 Americas, top 4 EU. You got the memes, all right? How great would that be? I hope to see it in the future, and we probably will see some version of that at coming WCS events. But hopefully you enjoyed my cast of Neeb's execution of Scarlett. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, say I was first, even though I didn't watch this hour-long video or all those things. You might be like, I'm in Twitch chat. How do I do that? You simply type a kappa in the chat because people care equally as much. It's very simple. But thank you for watching, and hopefully you enjoy all the other content and all that. Okay, move on.